Hey y'all, Mary Kennedy here from Algebra Student, and today's a little different because I'm sitting outside for one, and I'm not sitting in front of a laptop, and the other main thing is that I'm talking to parents, and I'm not talking to students. I'm not working out a math problem with them, so that's a little different. But I wanted to talk to you, especially if you're a homeschooling parent and your child is wanting to go to public school or private school, but like to a more traditional kind of school setting, and you're considering it. This is really specific because I've talked to a lot of homeschooling parents over the years whose kids are coming from homeschooling, and their kids been either has really struggled with math, or they're just not confident about the math, or the parents are like, I feel like their skill level's not where it needs to be for them to jump into an Algebra 1 class, that kind of thing. And so that's a very legitimate concern. I get it. I can understand that struggle and that thought process. And you don't want your child to go into something and just be so overwhelmed and be embarrassed, or there's just so many unknowns, right? So one of the things that I like to encourage parents with right off the bat is that if you're concerned because your child is not great with their math facts, like, oh my gosh, he's 14 years old and he still doesn't know his times tables, and I've worked with him, it's all we've done for the last 3 years, kind of thing. And as a parent and as a teacher, I hear you. Like, math facts, that's something you want your kid to know, just having that automaticity with it, and just know that intuitively, so that what do we use day in and day out? I may not have to factor anything, but I need to be able to multiply quickly in my head, right? That's a very usable skill, and we want that for our kids. So I'm with you 100%. Having said that, think about an Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2 teacher I'm going to go with public school because that's where I've always taught, in a public school setting where they are required to get through a set curriculum in a semester or in a year, depending on how their schedule's set up. Every teacher I've ever worked with feels the same way I do about, kids need to know these facts. They also have that pressure that says, you've got to get through this curriculum. You've got to get through all these standards in this amount of time with all these kids. And reality is that also teaching those math facts and trying to work on that, it's not reality. It's something we really wish would happen. But it's not something that we are, there's just not enough time in the day kind of thing. So, just know going in, I'm not saying at the particular school you're going to, but at every high school I've worked at, which has been several, and every high school I'm aware of, kids use a calculator. Like, it is standard procedure. It is just as much as you have a pencil and a notebook, you have a calculator in a math class. And that teacher is not standing over you making sure you're not multiplying math facts. Not at all. It's not going to be something that comes up. So I get the whole crutch idea. That's not a lie. That's not an exaggeration. A calculator can be a crutch. It's easy to become dependent on a calculator, no doubt. But as a homeschooling parent, I think you're used to supplementing probably what your kids have done, like in curriculum that they've been given. You probably realized, oh yeah, but my kid needs more practice with this, and so you've been doing that already. I just anticipate that you probably would want to keep doing that, when they start public school or whatever, and they're doing their algebra thing, that you're probably going to need to still continue to work on those math facts, as long as you see that as a goal that they need to meet. So just understand it's not going to happen in class, but also understand it's probably not going to be an issue in class. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, they're not. So that's what allows the teachers to teach kids beyond those elementary concepts is for the for the crowd, because we're teaching to the crowd in a regular classroom, is that we give them a tool to deal with that little issue, so that everybody's kind of on a level playing field, so, kind of, sort of, so to speak. So I hope that makes sense and gives you some thought for that. Like, personally, I just wouldn't let, oh, they don't know their sixes when they multiply in their head. Don't let that be the reason they don't go to school. Like, if you for other reasons feel like, okay, I want them to go into this algebra class, like, don't let that be a reason that they wouldn't. Teachers are, we can work with that. We have tools that we can supply. You can use a calculator. The reasoning skills, those are the ones that are huge, like, and much harder to teach a lot of times. But being able to think through a process and being able to write down what your steps were and how you got to this conclusion, or that that kind of thing. I don't mean paragraphs, I just mean showing your work and stuff. So don't let your child not knowing their math facts be a hindrance to, like, just like saying, okay, well, we can't do this, or feeling like I have to just teach math facts. Even if you're just going to keep homeschooling, don't just do that for the next 3 years, thinking, well, you can't learn algebra until you do this. Like, I don't think anybody's doing that, but I hope you're not. Okay. Oh, okay. So if you decide that you're like, okay, we're going to enroll in this school and this is what we're going to do, then here's my suggestion. Having taught lots of students who came from either small private schools or homeschools into public schools, especially as freshmen, into Algebra 1, I would recommend that you, when you enroll them, talk to a guidance counselor and an administrator. The guidance counselor in some schools is essentially an administrator, and in some schools they're not. Like, and you want everybody to be on the same page. And those people are so swamped, and they're seeing so many students and parents, and they have so many demands, that their good intentions could still ending up with not having good communication. Like, they could have the best of intentions of, okay, when we finish this meeting, I'm going to go speak to the vice principal for you, and I'm going to let them know what's going on. And they may completely mean to do that, and then behind you comes 7 more parents and 7 more meetings, and then it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it happens. So I would, you don't have to talk to them together, but I mean, that'd be ideal, but that may not be able to happen. But if you can talk to, if they have like a grade level administrator, like a 9th grade principal, try to talk to that person, try to talk to their grade level counselor, and just say, okay, here's what's going on. We've been homeschooling for this many years, and we're starting, and we're, we have some concerns, like we have things that we're we just want to make sure that he's in a good place, she's in a good spot, that kind of thing. And specific to math, a lot of schools are going to have a tendency for where they put that homeschool kid or that small private school kid that's coming in. And it's a lot of times it's based on previous experience. Like, oh, the last 90 kids out of 100 that came in here from that same situation, they all ended up going to accelerated, so we're just putting you in accelerated. Or the other end of the spectrum, they all were like lost, and so we had to put them in a support class, or whatever. Like, so there's probably like a natural thing that they're just going to be thinking, this is what we're going to do. Or they may have a placement test, and they may use that. They may pull in the math department chair person. There's no telling what you're going to find. It's going to be a wide range of things. I wouldn't insist on a math placement test necessarily, and if they have one, that's fine, and if they don't, that's fine too. Personally, like, as a parent, if I'd homeschooled and it came into that wouldn't be huge to me. Everybody's going to have a different opinion about that, but mostly what's going to be the biggest thing is the first couple of weeks in class. Your kids learning school and changing classes and all this, you know, the social aspect that they may not have, experienced before of the teacher-student interaction and the student-to-student interaction and just all kinds of stuff. There's just tons of things, and it's new and different and everything. And give your child a couple of weeks to adapt to that, adapt to the demands of the homework and turning in the homework and learning those routines and that kind of thing. And I would probably ask that administrator and guidance counselor, for, you might say, like a 2-week trial run in the regular class, the middle of the line class, not the lowest, not the highest. Say. But even 2 weeks is okay. To me, though, go to the first quiz or the first test, and just say, can we just see what they do in that first unit, and by then that teacher is going to have a really good sense of where this kid stands, and they've got all this experience with hundreds of kids in previous teaching time to go, yeah, she's on track, she's going to be fine, she's turning in homework, all this stuff looks good, or whoo, she's working really hard and she's just struggling. Let's look at a support class and consider, is that a good option, or does she need to stay and have tutoring? Does she, like all kinds of things? Or, whew, she knew what this was on the warm up, like before we even jumped into the notes, and let's look at accelerated kind of thing. Like, you have so many options. It's really a great thing, I think. But give a little bit of time, and so my suggestion is to go into that meeting and talk to the administrator, talk to the counselor about that, and come to a consensus. What are they willing to work with you on as far as, like, it's not going to be like, oh, I don't like this teacher, I want to go to a different teacher. Assure them that that's not what you're looking at, that you're looking at, the best fit in the curriculum, like where they're going to fit the best. That is my suggestion to you. I think that's where they're going to be the most open to that sort of thing. And then once you get the schedule and you get like a syllabus, some contact information with the actual teacher that your child is in, I would reach out right away, with an email or phone, whatever, text, smoke signals, however you're supposed to contact them the best, and just say, hey, here's our situation, this is what we're coming from, this is what we're doing. I would, love any feedback from you. If you're seeing things really early and want to go ahead and talk to me about it, please do. Or, if you want to wait for a time frame, either in weeks or whatever, or, that kind of thing. The teacher's got a lot going on, trust me. And you know that. I mean, I'm not telling you something you don't know. But, I think it just helps for them to realize, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, they may miss that this kid just enrolled at this school. Depending on the size of the school and all that sort of thing, I would get 35 new kids, and I didn't know any of them. I didn't know if they'd been in that same school district for all the years of their life, or if they had just moved there the last week or whatever. So until I had a chance to look at rosters and look at actual information. So I hope that's really helpful to you. I really do. That's why I'm doing this, is because I feel like that's information that I would want to know if I was a parent getting ready to, tackle moving my kids into a different school situation. And that's my experience. And obviously you're going to talk to lots of people and try to get their experiences as well. So if I've left out anything, or, if you just have other questions, please let me know in the comments, because how else do I know? And if I don't know, I can try to find out for you. Thanks.